Every day, all over the world, more leading companies are turning to the same company. We think that's powerful thinking for a more prosperous world.
This is Hiring America. We're joined now by two former vets who have successful careers at Eaton. Terry Truett, a U.S. Army account manager at Eaton. He devoted 21 years to the U.S. Army as an aviator flying Black Hawk helicopters. While in the Army, he deployed twice to Somalia, twice to Bosnia, twice to Afghanistan, and once to Qatar. And Sharae Smith is a project coordinator at Eaton in Raleigh, North Carolina. She served 3 years in the Army and 6 years in the Ohio National Guard. Thank you both for being here.
You're welcome.
First of all, someone in the military might be watching this and say, I've never heard of that company. What is it that you do?
Well, Eaton as a whole, we're a diversified company who focuses on power. So any type of power, aerospace, hydraulics, electrical. We provide goods and services that make that power run more efficiently, effectively, sustainably, safely.
Why did you decide to leave the military and not become a pilot, but rather go into the aerospace industry?
Well, I probably never had heard of Eaton when I met my boss about 2 years ago at an air show, and we started talking, and the more I learned about Eaton, the more interested I became, and you know, he talked to me a lot about the values and ethics that Eaton, the standards of conduct that we live by in doing business right, and it was very similar to the same values and ethics that we live by as soldiers. And the more I've learned, and especially after I've worked for Eaton, the more I've realized how good of a fit, you know, it really was.
And you didn't realize that so many of the parts in the airplanes that you flew actually were made by Eaton.
That's right. I work for specifically for the aerospace group, and we make power management solutions for pretty much any aircraft that the Army's flying, and it's mostly power systems, whether it's hydraulic systems, fuel systems, electrical systems. We make all those parts and systems that power the aircraft.
Why do you think it's a good fit for former military?
The attributes that you pick up in the military, the integrity, the can-do attitude, the dedication, all of those things that you pick up in the military, they transfer quite nicely over to Eaton. Actually, they transfer into the civilian world quite nicely. The difference is Eaton is also concerned not just with results, but how you achieve those results.
What are the skills you think that you picked up in the military that you use most in your corporate career?
You know, spending 22 years in the military, a lot of skills that you come by are not the ones that people would logically think of, like flying an aircraft. To me, those are probably some of the most, the least important skills that you develop over those years. When I joined the military, I became a platoon leader in an attack helicopter unit. And on day one, you walk into the door with 30 to 40 people that you're responsible for, 8 attack helicopters, and millions of dollars worth of equipment that support that. And that's your first job out of college, basically, and your responsibility kind of grows from there. And the numbers of people and the numbers of aircraft grow as you progress through your career. So that leadership experience, those people skills, is all things that really transfer. The administrative skills, how you just manage that institution on a day-to-day basis in the military really transfers nicely to a civilian job and how you do it. So we get a lot of experience. I've never had a job in the military where I didn't have people that I was responsible for.
And Sharae, you were an operator in the military. Do you use some skills that you picked up there in your job at Eaton?
The actual skills themselves didn't really transfer to what I do now. More or less the attributes, having to serve people and make sure things are working correctly, and how I did that transfers over to Eaton and all of my positions that I've held thus far at Eaton.
Did you face obstacles after 22 years in the military, serving so many tours of duty for our country, all of a sudden being thrust into a corporate culture?
I think the most challenging part is before you actually make the move, just trying to make the decision on what you're going to do. And you start thinking about, you know, am I going to be able to provide for my family? Can I maintain this standard of living? You know, what are the benefits going to be like? You're concerned about, you know, medical care and things of that nature. And frankly, you start reflecting a lot on your time in the military, deployments, soldiers that paid the ultimate sacrifice for this country, and it really is kind of an emotional roller coaster there near the end. And then you add to it the stress of trying to find a job and figure out where you're going to fit into a new life, and it's quite a challenge for anybody. I work for a very small team. Now there's 5 of us on a military account team. We all deal with the service, so I have the opportunity still to deal with the Army on a daily basis. I still feel like even though I'm not wearing the uniform, I'm connected to the service, that I'm still part of the bigger picture. So to me, feeling like I'm still part of the process and that I'm still doing my part to serve my country, and to me it's a great fit when you can do both, when you can move into the civilian world but still feel like you're part of your service and still doing the right thing.
What challenges did you go through when making the transition from the military into your corporate career?
Again, I have to go back to not just being concerned with results, but how you get them done. I held 2 other positions before settling into Eaton, and both of those positions were very concerned with results, not necessarily concerned with how you got those results. So integrity wasn't a big deal. Just doing the right thing was not a big deal. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but Eaton has been recognized several times, and that's probably an understatement, for their ethics. And so that was a big draw for me.
I think a lot of people don't realize how massive Eaton is. How big is it? It's a global company.
It is. We have about 103,000 employees worldwide.
And so there are a lot of jobs available.
Absolutely. And there's a website, eatonjobs.com, that they post everything on, and it's a great resource to go to and look. And if you know somebody that works for Eaton, it's always great to reach out to them, and they can help you and refer you into some of those positions. But we're always available to do that, and like you said, help other veterans that may be interested in coming to Eaton.
You're both living proof that the transition can be a successful one, and that Eaton is a good place for military employees to consider. Thanks so much for joining us to share your story.
You're welcome, and
Thanks
thank you for
having
having us.